Yo and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector. Happy Sunday to everybody. It's Sunday afternoon and I'm doing this video today because I want to be in a good mood because tonight the Cowboys play the Eagles and I don't know what kind of mood I'll be in after that. We shall see. Big game tonight for the Cowboys, so I will be glued to the television watching that and having fun, hoping we stop the tush push. We shall see. And the other big news over the weekend was Shohei Ohtani signing with the Dodgers for 11 years, 700 million, something like that. 10 years, 700 million. I can't remember. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. But at least now we know who the Rangers World Series opponent is going to be next year. So there's that, which is great. But that's not the point of today's video. Today's video is going to be maybe a little bit longer one, but I want to do this justice. Two people that I know in the hobby, respect in the hobby, like in the hobby, Orlando, who is a collector's dream on YouTube, and Sammy Thunder are both approaching 2,000 subscribers, which is a really awesome milestone. And they decided to run a contest where basically we talk about people we like in the hobby. And for me, I found, as much as I love this idea, it's also hard because I know hundreds and hundreds of people in the community, both on YouTube, off of YouTube, in the hobby, whatever. And I feel like whenever these kind of contests are out there, no matter what you do, no matter how big you make your list, you're always going to leave somebody off. And that's not cool because all of my friends, people that I consider friends in this community, are important to me. And to relegate it down, to narrow it down to just a few seems not fair to the rest of them, and it is what it is. So what I did was, I think they said name, someone in the hobby you like. Well, I have like a dirty dozen, and I came up with 12 guys that I'm going to mention that I kind of consider, I guess, closer friends. Look, in this world, it is so hard to have deep, meaningful friendships. It's even harder because in the card community, because we're not around each other very often. We don't hang out all the time. We see each other on videos, or we may talk on the phone every once in a while and text or whatever. But the reality is, it's not like it's my neighbor down the street and we can just hang out whenever we want. Some of you guys are fortunate enough to have that. But the reality is, for most of us, it's done electronically, I guess, or virtually, or whatever word you want to use. And that makes it difficult. And I've always found that you can't have, 20 best friends. It's just impossible because so much time needs to be invested in a friendship to make it really meaningful that it's difficult to do that with lots and lots of people. You can only do that with a few. And this is kind of my few that I spend the most time with, the most time talking to, the people, especially in the hobby, who I gravitate towards and just end up hanging out with. But again, that's not to disrespect anyone else. There's so many guys in this hobby, in this community, that I respect and admire and love talking to when I get a chance to. But again, you just can't be best friends with everybody. So I have the dirty dozen here. These are in zero order of anything, but I just started writing a list of guys, and I wanted to stop at 12. And I had some guys, Mike Junkwax Hero, Danny Black, guys like that I'm like, oh, I consider them good friends, but again, I don't know. It's hard to do this, almost unfair to do this, cruel really might be the word, but there are some guys that I just want to give a shout out to and tell them how much they mean to me, I guess, really. The first one's Ty, and Ty from Chasing Cardboard buddy, my Bench Clear Media partner, etc., all the things that we do together. He is such a great dude, and so I think might be one of the most misunderstood people in the hobby. And just there's so many people that just slam on him all the time. I don't get it, but they're all people that have never met him or spent any time with him. So that's true probably of everybody. If you don't know someone really, it's easy to hurl insults and, be negative towards and all of that because you don't have any skin in the game, right? But Ty is amazing and obviously someone who I spend a lot of time with and enjoy spending time with. Next up, John Keating. Man, I didn't know how I would feel like about John Keating when I first met him, and he rubbed off on me in a good way so quick that I absolutely love him. I loved his humor. I love his sarcasm. I love everything about him. And he's an Eagles fan. So like that just shows that dogs and cats can get along. So he's just an amazing guy. And I really am proud to call him a friend. Next up, Ray from Philly. Speaking of Philly guys, Ray was my first friend on YouTube and the first guy that I ever communicated with outside of comments on a video, or maybe even back in the day, they had direct messaging on YouTube. Do you guys remember that? Anybody that was around then? You could actually direct message somebody. It was super handy and annoying that they don't have that feature anymore. Don't know why they got rid of it, but yeah, Ray and I have been friends for close to a decade now. And we still figure out ways to do videos together and talk, and we collect so much alike. It's fantastic. Next up, Chris, Hall of Fame Pullers. All these guys have channels, so I will mention their channel. And if you don't know them, go check them out. But Chris, Hall of Fame Pullers, he is in Kentucky. He is there's several guys like that. Frank, Bill, Jake, guys like that. But Chris and I connect on a different level because we both like the Hall of Fame runs of cards signed by their top players' cards signed, Hall of Famer cards signed from their playing days. And so I love that about his channel. He's a Rangers fan, so we text all the time about the Rangers and what's going on with the team, etc. So that's just a great connection that takes Chris to another level of friendship and camaraderie. Speaking of Chris's, Chris from Missouri, who I've known now for over 3 years, and incredibly generous, incredibly easy to have a good time with and just play around with and joke around with and have fun with. We collect, again, very similarly, but that's true of other guys like Don and George. Guys, there's so many guys out there that I collect a lot alike and have a lot of similarities too. But Chris and I just hit it off, and we have a great time talking whenever we do. Next up, Josh, Rated Rookie. Josh is another one of those guys that probably at the beginning, he didn't know what to make of me probably more, and I didn't really know who he was. And we met at a national years ago, and through the years, we've just hung out more, communicated more. I mean, I've been to his house. He's been to my house. Like, literally, we know each other's families. And Josh is such a genuine guy. First, amazing collection. But beyond, again, all this is beyond cards, right? It's more than just cards, because I can see cards whenever I want. I can't meet great people whenever I want. And then you hang out with Josh for a little while, and you just want to hang out with him more. He's such an extraordinary dude, and just fascinating guy, and real down to earth. Just love being around him. Next is Dave. Blue Jacket 66 is his YouTube channel. And Dave is one of those guys that he's certainly a friend, but I also look up to Dave a lot. Like the cool uncle that I want to be like, the guy that you look at and you go, yeah, I like how he thinks. I want to think like that. And he's snarky and fun. And I mean, we just get along great. And that's a friendship should be easy, right? It shouldn't be hard. And so it might be that I call Dave one day just to ask him a question, and I don't hear back from him for days because he's working. And then sure enough, he calls back and we talk and catch up, all that fun stuff. So certainly Dave is one of those guys in the Dirty Dozen. Now we get to really 5 guys that I would say I spend the most time with talking to. The first is Mike Samuel, Canadian Cards. What can you say? He's Canadian, so he's weird already. But beyond that, beyond being Canadian, he is a super good dude. He makes me laugh all the time. We say things privately that we never would say to anyone else. And I like how real Mike is. He's very upfront about how he feels about things. And that's great. Sometimes it's a little over the top, but I dig it. I really like it. Then you got JT, Triple Crown 24. I think a lot of us in the community have adopted JT as kind of that, our hobby children, hobby son that we want to, kind of usher along and bring along and teach. And yet he knows so much already that it's almost the other way around. He teaches us a bunch of stuff, but I think it goes both ways, and there's a lot of mutual admiration and respect. And JT has a lot for me, and I just I love what he's doing, and he's a great friend. Then you've got Eric, those back pages. I remember the first time I saw Eric at a national. I didn't meet him because I saw him in the distance and I knew who he was, and it intimidated me. That's just the truth of it. I was afraid to talk to him, and he won't know who I am, and I'll just look like an idiot and all of that. And I'm like, God, this was years and years ago. I'm in my 40s and I'm worried about that, and yet I was. So I learned very quickly that was stupid, and Eric and I have become super tight, and we talk a lot, and Eric's that slightly older brother, because Eric's only a couple years older than me, but he's kind of that older brother that we're certainly not competitive, but we just have this, I think hopefully I have a lot of respect for him. I hope it goes both ways, but he love the way he collects. His collection's just phenomenal and sneaky good, and I love the man. He's awesome. And you got Andy. She blinded me with refractors. We all wish Andy would make more videos. We tease him about it all the time, incessantly. But Andy is one of those guys that, I don't know, I've probably in person spent the most time with him more than anyone in the community. He's been to my house I don't know how many times. We've gone to card shops together. We've bought cards together. We've stayed together the last 4 nationals, I think. And that trend should continue. We've traveled to Burbank together when we stayed with Josh. We're planning on maybe going to the Strongsville show together. We've done, I don't know how many Dallas shows when we've been at the same Dallas show and hung out. And to say Andy's a great dude is not doing him any justice. It's a complete understatement. He is the kind of guy everybody would want to be best friends with, and you would want to hang out with him because he's that kind of guy. He's easy to get along with. He's funny. He throws out things out of nowhere and just surprise you, and they're clever and smart, and he knows a lot about the hobby and just fun to hang out with, and he's just a super great guy. And lastly on the Dirty Dozen list for me is Garrett. Card Cutter is his channel name. I talk about him a lot on here on this channel because I talk to him a lot. I probably talk to Garrett now in just terms of communicating more than anyone. He and I talk just about every day. In fact, he's already called while I was making this video, believe it or not. It showed up, and now the dogs are going nuts. But they like Garrett too. So Garrett is just one of those guys that would give you the shirt off his back. He would totally just do anything for you. He's an incredibly loyal guy, but he'll also tell you what he thinks. He doesn't pull any punches either. And he and I talk about everything. I mean, kids and spouses and jobs and, cards obviously too, and hobby and all that kind of stuff. But the hobby might have brought all of these people into my life, but it's not the only reason they're in my life. And I'm so blessed to have literally hundreds and hundreds of you that I call friends. And I just, I just love that part of this hobby. I love that. I wouldn't be doing YouTube still if it wasn't for that. If it wasn't for all the people that I keep making new connections with, even, and people that send me Instagram DMs, and we start going back and forth. And, you know, it's just the most amazing part of this hobby, the most amazing part of this YouTube community. And yeah, so congrats to Orlando and to Sammy Thunder for getting close to 2,000 subs. If you don't know them, go check them out. You definitely want to. And we'll wait to see you guys' videos on the connections that you've been able to make in the hobby and the friends that you have. We'll talk to you soon. Go Cowboys. Keep collecting.